Good to have you with us, Peter.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Now, right now, in current situation, everyone is talking about the trade war. Do you think the market is at the peak fear over the threat of the U.S. and the China trade war? And where are we right now?
Well, right now, I mean, because the rhetoric has been cut back a little bit this morning and over the weekend, the market rallied. This is going to continue. I think that the market pretty much overreacts to a trade war because in my heart of hearts, I don't think that we're going to have a full trade war. I just can't imagine that would play out that way. No one wins a trade war. So to me, the Chinese, they don't want to do it. I'm sure that the Americans, other than the president, really don't want it to happen either. My gut feeling is it probably won't happen. We might have some, negotiation as far as that's concerned, but I don't think you're going to see an all-out trade war.
But we see that the U.S. President Donald Trump commented on his Twitter that China and the U.S. Are not in a trade war. But on the other day, he comments that's China saying the imbalanced trade situations.
Well, I mean, the imbalance of trade, that's the American, the Americans have found, a place to buy, quality items inexpensively. I mean, if the Vietnamese were making items as well as the Chinese were, they'd be buying it from Vietnam. So to me, it's having the president, with all this rhetoric and all this nonsense come out and say that, we can't have this trade imbalance. The trade imbalances, we've had trade imbalances for the last 45 years. Either it was oil, it was, Japanese manufacturing, you name it, we've had trade imbalances. It's just the way the world works. And I'm not, I don't think a trade war is going to solve that.
And from your point of view, what could be the best scenario of the trade relationships between the two superpowers?
Well, the best scenario would be to have both sides sit down at a table and talk about it and try to negotiate some sort of, you're never going to equalize it. And I think it's impossible to equalize, the trade between the two countries. But there should be some give and take on both sides. And I think the Chinese will be willing to do that if the Americans are willing to do it. And I think that's all we need to do is have level heads, sit down, talk about it, what's going to work for both countries. Obviously, we're not, going to get what the president wants because I think that would just totally disrupt world trade. It just would really cause a cavalcade of problems. But having some sort of, moving the needle a little bit, towards the Americans just to give them something to make them a little more, comfortable with trade imbalance, I think that's probably what you're going to have to get.
Then for the commodity market, oil prices rally more than 2% today. Do you think it's like the technical rebound or it's the concerns of the geopolitical issue?
Well, I think with the oil, it has something to do with what's going on in Syria and the potential for the conflagration there to get more out of hand than it already is. This is a little bit of speculation, too, because oil has been trading a little bit lower because of the supply and demand issues. You usually see this anytime there's an uptick of activity in the Middle East. That will probably quell down a little bit. You got to be very careful about what the president says also. I think that does have something to do with the oil market, that people get a little nervous. And any kind of escalation in the Middle East will not be good. And that's what I think you'll see in the oil market.
And then for in terms of the demand and the supply part, do you think the market is rebalancing now?
Yeah, it always rebalances. As we get from heating season to driving season, in the U.S. and Europe, that does rebalance. And I think that the Saudis they're pretty comfortable with what their production levels are. The Russians are. Venezuelans, God only knows with them because who knows what's happening over there. And the Chinese, if you look at their demand has been going up, fractionally every month. So, yeah, I think we'll probably have a little bit more demand than we do have supply. But U.S. suppliers and you have Nigeria and you have a lot of supply sources that are actually increasing production. So, it has a few days or a few weeks where it's imbalanced, but it usually gets to a balance.
And the U.S. dollars turned lower today, and how much downside room do you think that it could touch?
Well, I'd like to see it stop going lower. We've been the dollar has gone down since the beginning of the year. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to find a base level for it. And where it's trading now. Where is it now? 89. I got to say that probably 88, 89 would be the base. That's good for travelers, but it's not good for U.S. manufacturers. So, we'll probably see it stay around here a little bit. I mean, with all the uncertainty in the oil market and all the uncertainty with, the Chinese trade, that's where money should actually be flowing to the dollar, not away from it. But, it's probably going to flow towards gold.
Then do you think the good is set up to break out?
Yeah, I do. I think gold's there's an opportunity for some movement on the upside. I think that you're having, with the dollar down like that, I think you probably see money moving into gold. Will it touch, 1450, 1440? Yeah, it's very possible. I don't think $100 move from where we are right now. I don't think that's, I think it's very doable. I think you will see that.
For investor, what's your recommendation for how to make the position?
Well, as far as gold is concerned, you know what? If you want to trade it on a short-term basis, in a month or two, you'll probably do very well. I'm not, with gold, I don't really look too far out because it's such, there's so many different variables that move the gold market. But for a short term, I do think you'll probably see some upside.
Thank you so much for your comments today, Peter.
Thank you very much.